Hi everybody, I'm Randy Ridings, and this is the Quadyak Coast to Coast. In 2013, my father and I built a human-powered amphibious velomobile. In 2018, I started a trip from the West Coast in Oregon, headed towards the East Coast. This playlist is a series of videos that will detail that trip. Each video will cover about a 10-day 200 to 400 mile leg of this trip. I'm glad to have you with me and hope you follow along to the end. Hey, well, it's Tuesday, the 14th of August, which I think is day 70. I am riding through North Platte. Got down to Hutchinson, family down there, put me up for the night, fed me dinner, and their son John drove me up here. It's a 5-hour drive. Anyway, that was awesome. So that saved me a 23-hour bus ride and a $170 bus ticket. I rode on Saturday, had a down day Sunday and Monday, and I'm riding again on Tuesday afternoon. I'm going out of here south on 83 all the way down to Garden City, turning left on 50, going through Dodge City and over. Alright, I've done 19 miles since North Platte. That cable just snapped. Now I am stuck without my bottom bracket gears unless I can fix this on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. Well, I found another piece of cable and another one of my little cable clamp. I'm at 27 miles now, which means I think I have 2 miles. And the sun isn't quite on the horizon. And there is my sign for my picnic area. That is this. It is a picnic area with a table and a porta-john. Good morning, Wednesday, August 15th, day 71. 30 miles south of North Platte, Nebraska, and about 40 miles down to the next real town. So I'm experiencing what might actually be like the first day of fall, or cool, and my hands are cold, crisp autumn morning with dew. So I pulled down into Haywood, and I found the Haywood Market, and I found a bench I can sit on while I work on stuff, and I'm changing my tires out here on the sidewalk. So I gotta say hi to Cora and Allie. They were going down the road yesterday, and they said, "Mom, there was a kayak." She didn't believe them. So they were right and she was wrong. At least she was paying attention to the road. So hi kids. Great little town. Store owner gave me a can of beef stew. Came in without a label on it. He's like, "Oh, I can't sell it. You might as well eat it." And they've told me there's some big hills between here and McCook. It'll be 36 miles from here, and then that's really close to the Kansas border, I believe. I'll be in another state. Nebraska is a fast one because they just kind of cut across the southwest corner. Kansas will be a long one because I'm cutting diagonally across it. I was just about to the 28-mile mark. I realized that I was riding through shade. Oh, that is the first shade I've seen today. You know, if you're out in the sun all day long, even just 20-30 minutes of shade where the sun is not hitting your skin, I think does a lot. I can see a water tower out there on the horizon. Could that be 14 miles away? People keep telling me I need to go to Arunza sometime. I never even heard of them until I came out here. It might just be a Nebraska thing. There's the "Welcome to McCook" sign. I'm at 42.5, and then hopefully find a place to camp here really close by. Okay, so it turns out Arunza is meat and cabbage in a kind of a bread roll thing, and then you get frings, which are fries and rings. It's all very good. And then I had to sprint across town. Free tourist camp, and my turn for 83 is like less than a mile back there. I had to come this way anyway. I get here just like right as it's getting dark, and I'm gonna pull in, and I'm gonna find a spot, and I'm gonna camp, and that's gonna be that. And I can't believe that all worked. I'm doing 46.6 miles today. Good morning. August 16th, day 72. I woke up last night and it was raining a little bit, and I went, well, no sense getting up early. I'm, I think, 17 miles from Kansas. I should roll over 2,000 miles today. The temperature's cooler, which is nice, but just everything's wet, and that's never good when you're out. Easier to get mold on stuff and get rashes on yourself. I dropped my cook set, made oatmeal, and realized that I have a crack in my pretty pink bowl. And I swear by my pretty pink bonnet, I will end you. There's one for the nerds out there, of which I am one. Had that for a long time. It's been on many a camping trip. And on the positive side, I don't have to wash the bowl this morning. Always look on the bright side of life. So it gets an ignominious death in McCook, Nebraska. And might have left my heart in San Francisco, but I'm leaving my pretty pink bowl in McCook. But this is a very nice park. There's like a 3-day limit. There's a water spigot over there, so I can fill up all my water stuff before I leave. Well, the Kindness of Strangers tour continues. Right across the street, there's a sporting goods place. So they're like, well, what you looking for? I'm like, well, I'm looking for a towel and a bowl. And I said, I broke my bowl this morning. And they were laughing about it. And the dad was like, hop in the truck. 3 plastic bowls. But it was very nice for the folks over there at the Armadillo Guns and Sporting Goods. I looked at my map. It looks like right after the Kansas-Nebraska border, there's a town, I think it's called Oberlin, and then there's another one about 19 miles after that. So I crossed the Republican River, which means that I'm in the Republican River Valley, which means there is a beast of a hill coming up.
Hey, you got time to talk to the newspaper?
Sure. I'm about to get interviewed by a newspaper. I'm in Kansas. This is the shoulder I have. 27.2 miles today, which means I have gone over the 2,000 mile mark for this trip. And I'm at 29 miles at 4 hours and 52 minutes. And pulling into Oberlin, Kansas. Well, I am still in town. I'm staying here tonight. Selden is 18 miles away. And after that, it's like 42 miles till the next town. Apparently very hilly between here and there. I wasn't feeling it, and sometimes you just, you know, like, it went from being overcast and cool and nice, the sun came out, and boom. Manager of the hotel calls her boss and talks to him. My boss said, just go down by the barbecue pit, you can camp for free. So today, the 16th, day 72, 32 miles. Good morning. It's Friday, 17th of August, day 73. I am walking down to the same restaurant I ate dinner at last night. So Selden first, another 18 miles. All right, pulling into Selden, Kansas. So I've done 21 miles today. All right, leaving Selden. Next town, 10 miles away, is Rexburg. And then 10 miles after that is a little town called Gem. It's a Friday at 6 o'clock, downtown Rexburg. I've been here in the middle of town now for like 5 minutes. Not a single car has gone by. All right, well, I guess it's about time to go. Well, I am in Gem, and I found the city park, and I hope I can camp here. Good morning. It is Saturday, August 18th, day 74. I'm about 20 miles from Oakley. Those of you who don't know what goat heads are, I pulled these off the bottom of my tent. That is what pops tires around here. Leaving Gem, and the quickest way is to go out on a dirt road, unfortunately. Hope I don't pick up goat heads. I keep thinking more and more that I think I might just make this the last leg. Just get to Hutchinson and call it. Right at the transition from land to water. I'll be kind of pushing it right up until school started. I just don't think I got time enough for another 10-day jump. I've done 7.5 miles since I started this morning. An hour and 23 minutes. I'm on a flat, smooth road and I'm going 5 miles an hour. See my flag there? Yeah, this wind is just it's like if I could just get a couple of days flat, smooth, no wind or tailwind. The mileage I could make. Look what I got all of a sudden. I don't know if there's a county line or what's going on, but I now have a real shoulder. Little change of plans. I was going along and I'm seeing it's like red and green up there, and I'm like, well, red and green are the colors of gas stations. I know what this is. It's I-70. It's going to be truck stops, gas stations, whatever. I'm going to take a break there. I am sitting in Travel Center, still at the I-70 intersection. It is raining. The wind has been up around the 15 to 18 miles an hour. Checked the weather and it said it's going to rain for the next 2 hours and then clear up till about 8 o'clock. So I'm about 5 miles from Oakley. I think I'll wait through the storm, head down to Oakley, and then just make sure I find something by about 7:30. So this should have been way faster. This should have been 50 and 60 mile days. Things just are not coming together on this leg very well. Okay, back on the road. About 4:30. I've fashioned some impromptu rear wheel water deflectors. It's 6 o'clock in the evening. It's going to rain in 2 hours. I really ought to just stay in Oakley, get a hotel room. I've only done that, I think, 4 times the entire trip. It's just, I've only done 25 miles today, and I'm just being stubborn that I'm gonna at least get over my 32 mile a day. 42 miles to Scott City, and there is nothing between here and there. So I am going to have to stealth camp. Still not riding fast, so I don't run into that, which has lightning and much heavier rain. Almost 8 o'clock. Yeah, about 45 minutes till I pretty much absolutely have to find a place to camp. Done 36 miles, so I've done, 11 since I left town. I really wish I could get out of the rain for just a little while. Don't really want to set up camp in the rain. Okay, well, this is not great, but it gets me 100 feet off the road in a place that's fairly dry, oil tank farm kind of thing. Just a whole bunch of lightning ahead of me. There's semi-mown grass. The chances of somebody coming in here between now and say 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, I'd say are pretty slim. And I can put the tent right there in a flat place. I think that's about as good as it's going to get, and it's going to be dark for less than half an hour or so. And I end up doing 40.5 miles. Today's the 18th of August. Good morning. It's the 19th of August, day 75. About 10 o'clock last night, right as I was going to bed, a storm hit that was not forecast. And I cannot even begin to describe the fury and tempest of that storm. I was holding this tent down physically. Water was just streaming in. This tent has mesh panels. And the wind was coming from that direction. The water was just going vertically. So I got very wet. Everything in here got wet. I was sitting on my air mattress, holding my sleeping bag in my lap, and with my rain shell over my head like a second tent. And I did that for about half an hour while the rain just pelted down. Here's the problem. I'm wet. Sleeping bag's wet. All my clothes are wet. If I get up, the evaporation is going to start, and I'm going to get very cold. Honestly, I could risk hypothermia. I stayed warm because I'm one of those lucky people that generates a lot of heat. Even though I was wet in the sleeping bag, I warmed up all the water in the sleeping bag and on me. The sun is up. I guess my plan is to get up and then get kind of out into the sun and get dry. If you're wondering just how much it rained last night, there's the bottom of the Quadyak. It has about 1.5 inches of water in it. Bet you don't have to bail your bike out in the morning. And apparently there are 2 more storms coming my way. If I get hit with a bad one while I'm traveling, not a lot I can do. I mean, look for shelter, obviously. There are some farms around I could pull in and see if somebody let me tuck into a barn or a shop. Alright, starting my watch at a straight up 9 o'clock. Stiff tailwind. Got up to speed on this just slight hill. cruising at 19 miles an hour. I'm not even pedaling. About the next 5 miles I can see it out there. This part of Kansas drops 12 feet per mile, which is 1/4%. You're still on the downgrade from the Rockies. That's why that happens. All this is still just slow alluvial plain. I just can't resist. Come out here and then look over my shoulder every 30 seconds. See if anybody's coming. The difference between 14 miles an hour or 9.6 over there between this and the shoulder. I'm in Scott City and I hit 10 miles in almost exactly an hour, and that's after stopping and asking directions to the laundromat. Okay, it's raining. Yeah. So, I don't even know what cloud that's coming out of. And I don't think this is going to last for long. I mean, I already see blue sky and I see sunlight. I'm not really exactly sure how far out I am still from Garden City. I don't know if I'm 12 miles away, 11 miles away, 7 miles away, and I think I might be 9 miles away. So I can do another 9 in an hour. I never did pin down exactly how fast this wind is. I got up to 15 miles an hour at one point and I could still feel it a little bit on my back. So I'm actually at 58 2/3 miles right now. I'll be somewhere in the 67 to 70 mark, I think, by the time I end today. But this might end up being like the second longest ride, and it's all because flat surface tailwind. Me and my shadow. The good news is I found a bike trail, so I'm not out on the roads. I have lights. I'm in town. Good morning, August 20th, day 76. Did not rain last night. It was windy and kind of cold. I got a room because I thought we're gonna have a repeat of the night before. It's like flooding in Omaha. It's all just a little bit farther east of me. Crazy storm. But it's all just about a half a state ahead of me, thank goodness. I'm in Garden City, and so I got to work my way through Garden City now. 50 miles or so from here is Dodge City. I'll have to work my way through that. So I'm heading east on 50, and it is actually cold today. So I started this trip in the spring in early June in Oregon and rode through the summer. Definitely got summer through the desert, Idaho, and this is like the fall. Wind turbine blades. They don't look that big up in the air, but they are huge. 3 of those per nacelle. All right, 13.25 miles in 2 hours and 11 minutes. Nothing like coasting at 20 miles an hour and essentially being in a vacuum. I like when you're going 20 miles an hour and the flag's just hanging limp because you finally match the wind speed. I am at the rest stop. I knew there was a few here and there. Didn't remember this one. So I'm in Cimarron. I'm heading out of town, but I am going to stop, get a shake or something. Still been losing a lot of weight, and I'm trying to just like keep it under control. So I've done 35 miles. You know, I'll probably end up making Dodge City. All right, slightly over 44 miles. Found this nice little historical marker. Santa Fe Trail tracks. So where the Oregon Trail and some of the other trails were mostly for immigrants going west, Santa Fe Trail was mostly a trade trail. It kind of went along the border of U.S. property and Spanish property from Franklin, Missouri to Santa Fe, New Mexico, and it was moving goods east and west. Flour and cloth, and then native-made cloth and silver, and back the other way. Alright, well, so this is Dodge City. Not a lot of traffic right now. It's Monday at 7:30, whatever it is. So I've done 54 miles today. The wind is going to shift tomorrow, and that's going to go right into Dodge. So I'm going to get the heck out of Dodge. So that feedlot starts and pretty much just goes to the horizon. It's such a historic thing, there's no overlook. Good morning, August 21st, day 77. That's my camping spot over there. There's this little picnic area up here. That's where the truck drivers park. I decided I did not want to pack up wet. Got the tent drying over here on a little patch of concrete. I got 13 miles to Spearville. Okay. So there's the other thing I got to hear all night. Not the quietest place. The reason that it's so wet around here in my tent in Kansas, which is normally a dry, dusty place, they have had a lot of rain here. That is a field, not a pond. And I think this end of that probably has 3 feet of water in it. It's up a couple of rungs on a barbed wire fence. Omaha, yesterday, flooded. And that's not that far away from here. I just stopped in Spearville, had breakfast at a nice little cafe. It's very good. And there's a little town up here called Lewis that has a park with a covered shelter pulling into Offerly, Kansas. I'm almost at 22 miles in 4.5 hours. So about to leave Offerly, and one of the wind turbine nacelles is coming through, so that's the generator. Well, that's kind of interesting. There's a sign up there that says New York is 1,561 miles and San Francisco is 1,561 miles. Well, here's Lewis, Kansas. There's a bar and grill, little store back there, library, newspaper, bank. See y'all. I went to the store, and now I'm going back to the park. I ran into the local law enforcement. 2 guys in uniform standing outside looking at the Quadyak. And so I went out and talked to them, and I asked them park, and they were like, yeah, no problem there. Good morning. It is August 22nd, day 78. It did rain last night. It wasn't terribly bad, at least didn't sound like it from inside the shelter. See, I got lucky. I had this. I'm seeing more clouds and stuff out there. I think I'm just gonna wait a little while. Said I'm only trying to make about 40 to 50 today. That leaves like 20 to 30 tomorrow to put me in Hutchinson midday. I feel like I've moved to Lewis, Kansas. I just can't seem to leave. Every time I get ready to leave, it starts raining again. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's just gonna, it's like rain on and off all day, but you look at the accumulation, it's like 0.04 inches. So I'll keep the rain shell handy, and I might get hit a few times, but it's not, it doesn't look like it's going to be any of the gully washer, hail, lightning, none of that stuff. None of it's dangerous rain. It's just going to be rain. But tonight there is, like starting at 10 o'clock, there's going to be some thunderstorms. I'm looking at a town called Stafford. It's 37 miles away. Well, it rained a little bit harder for a while, and now it's just back to just a little bit of rain. I probably had this coming. I've had amazingly good luck with weather. My windscreen actually does a very nice job keeping my feet and my legs dry. The water hits me in the chest. The saying in the Army used to be, if it ain't raining, it ain't training. Well, I pulled into Prairie, so now it's not raining. And there's a little Mexican restaurant. Very good. So I'm about to pull into Maxville, and I've done about 17 miles today now, and I'm supposed to have about another hour of good weather, then some rain, then some good weather. Leaving Maxville, apparently 12 miles from here, which put me at 30, there is a roadside park. They think there's these little mushroom things that you can kind of get up under. Man, this is a tough call. This is the rest area, and this is what they're talking about when they said mushrooms. That is overhead protection from rain. I could tuck a tent in here pretty easy and a Quadyak and be out of the rain. Stafford is like 5 miles away from here, but I only got like 45 minutes. That adds 5 miles to my trip tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna get anything this good, and I'd be pushing dark. I mean, that sun is, I mean, it's below those trees. I've done 32 miles today, 32 and a half. All right, I'm gonna stay here. Well, so what's happened since I got here was the Stafford County Sheriff came in and essentially okayed me staying here for the night. Good morning. August 23rd, day 79. This should be the last day of the uninterrupted ride, the summer of 2018. And I should be at the RV at South Hutchinson this evening. All right, on the road about 9. All right, pulling into Stafford, going by Sylvia, Kansas, and I can't help wonder what her mother said. Why is Sylvia crying? Dun, 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 ba, dun, 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 ba, bum, bum, ba, da, da. Little rest stop up here on the left. Gas station something. I'm gonna take a break. I'm gonna be about 19 miles there. Done 33 miles in 6 hours. You know, you get to that point where you're like, okay, I'm just kind of done. When you know, I remember this from the military. When the field exercise is over, you're like, just go home. Anyway, so I'm kind of in that mode now. It's just like, you know, I'm kind of ready for this portion of this trip to be done. I'm looking forward to starting it again and finishing it. You know, do I continue on in the fall? Do I wait till the spring when the river's going to have more water in it? Do I try to do it all next summer? I mean, it's kind of back to planning phase. It is August 24th. I am in South Hutchinson, Kansas. I am packing up to go home. I'm not saying what day of the trip this is because it's not part of the trip. The uninterrupted portion of this trip went 79 days, 2,339 miles. About 250 of that in the water. Close enough to call it 30 miles per day. At my host family's in South Hutchinson, and I ended at the Dutch Kitchen on Highway 50. So that's where I will restart. I'm heading home in triumphant but failed fashion. I did not accomplish what I wanted, but I kind of always knew, unless I got really, really lucky, I was probably not ever putting this together in one summer. There's a couple things I could have done that maybe would have made this a one summer trip. I think not going over the Cascades. I should have just started at Astoria and come straight up the Columbia River Gorge. Oregon might not have been a month, it might have been, you know, 2 weeks to get out of there. Kind of bummed I'm not finishing this in one summer, but sometimes it doesn't work out the way you plan or the way you hope. I needed at least 100 days under the best circumstances. Didn't even have that. I had 80 days. I will be finishing it. I just got to figure it out how. Join me in the next video where I post the next leg of this trip. You can also follow along on the Quadyak's Facebook page and check out my other Quadyak videos in the other playlist that shows how we built it and other trips I've done with it. I filmed about 100 hours this summer of this trip, and I'm not even done yet. If you want to see all of it, you can visit my Patreon page, or if you just want to support me and the trip and my videos and future projects, please check that out. Put a link below so you can find that and support me. I hope you do. Thank you very much. I'm Randy Ridings, and this is the Quadyak Coast to Coast Trip.